So welcome back to Florida Living with Neil Archer, everything real estate with a little bit of other stuff thrown in. This week's guest is my colleague and friend from Keller Williams Palm Beaches, the same office as me, Mark Loewenberg. Welcome.
Good to be here, and thank you for having me join you.
You're welcome.
Appreciate it.
So let me tell you a little story about Mark. About, how was it, like 5 years ago, 6 years ago? He helped me buy a house back in 2011, and what a deal that was. It was unbelievable, and you really helped
One
me.
of the steals of the century.
It was the steal of the century. I remember you saying big risk, big reward, and it was a foreclosure. I had a lot of stuff missing, including the AC units and the water softeners. It was out in Jupiter Farms.
That one was a story in itself. All the stuff you did above and beyond what most buyers would do to get a property.
It was unbelievable. And then Mark Daly, who was on, a week ago, he was the one who did this 203K mortgage, which was an FHA 203K, which enabled us to rehab the property, but we got funds up front from the lender. Mm-hmm. And everyone that he talked to said no, they couldn't do it. And then he actually went to the owners of his company and they said, go to this place, and they got it done. It was
Exactly.
unbelievable.
It takes a special buyer to pull this off.
Yeah.
But it was good having a good team with Mark being part of it and you being part of it.
Yeah.
We were also lucky where the seller's agent let us do things that most seller's agents wouldn't let us do.
I know.
That we were able to take advantage of to make that deal happen.
Yeah, and it was great. So fast forward 4 years, and I was coming to sell the house, and I was working for the newspaper. I was selling advertising to agents, and I'd always been considering moving to real estate and doing my own gig. And my wife collared him in the garage, and she said, If Neil was to do real estate, what do you think he would do? And what did you say?
I said you would kill it.
So a year later, it took
But
another
remember,
year.
every transaction that we did, I would tell you, you would be awesome in
I
this
know,
business.
you did say that. You kept saying that. So you put the seed in my head, and then, we sold that house, or you sold that house, and then a year later, when I was just...
You got sick of paying me.
I did get sick of paying you, but I was just sick
Which is fine.
I was just sick of my corporate job too, and having to work. Not that I don't like to work, but being in the office, every day for all week. And
one of my favorite things about what you've done is you've given yourself the ability to take vacations, travel the world, whenever you want, rather than
without
being
asking
tied.
for permission.
Exactly.
Right.
So,
And the last time I was away, I sold 2 properties. Came back to checks when I got back.
Exactly.
Yeah. So Mark, tell me a little bit, because I just talked about working corporate. You work corporate, right? What got you into real estate? How long ago?
Oh, many, many years ago. I've been in sales pretty much all my life, but what got me into real estate was a bad real estate transaction.
Oh, really?
Ironically, us selling our house up in Georgia, we had a major challenge with the agents that we were being represented by, where they treated us like a number. We ended up selling the house ourselves through an open house. 3 days prior to closing, the agent goes, we're trying to go, what's going on? What do we have to do? Never had done this before. And they go, well, your agent should talk. We haven't heard from our agent in 2 weeks.
Oh, my goodness.
And so I called, and they go, well, we terminated that agent. We have somebody else representing you. Great. Who? What are we supposed to do? And at that point, I was paying a lot of money for zero service.
Right. And, in this business, I don't consider myself a salesperson in this job. It's personal customer service is key. You have to be on the phone. You have to keep everybody abreast of everything going on in the contract.
Yeah. So I got into the business knowing that was going to be the antithesis of what that person did to our family.
Wow.
And I got into this business knowing that I'm going to help people.
How long ago?
So that was back in 2004.
2004.
So we came down to Palm Beach Gardens, moved to our little world in Calusa, and started real estate. And the way I started was with a little ad, knowing that you came from the wonderful the newspaper industry.
Right.
It did wonders back in 2004. A little
True.
4-line ad that cost me, I think, $200 a week
Perfect.
to run. I was getting tons of phone calls left and right. And I sold a bunch of properties in this little neighborhood. And then I just slowly kind of built up my market.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
And he's one of the top agents in our office. And, this guy has been instrumental in my success because you've been there on the end of the phone, call me for anything. And
Yes.
I remember the first year, it was like every day I was calling this guy. So thank you for that.
But he always had great questions.
Great questions.
And
Questions
the
sometimes
cool
that you'd
thing-
never come up against, right?
So, I don't know everything, but we at least have such a good team
Yes, we do.
at the office.
Absolutely.
That we can go call a broker or title company. We can call a bunch of people to get the right answers.
Yeah.
to
So
help
let's
us
talk.
out.
Let's talk about your farming area, because you are in a really, really unique situation in an area in Palm Beach County that I don't think many people know
Very true.
what it
And
is.
it's funny because when you get into a neighborhood and you go, oh, I'm going to reach out and start farming it, and you're the little fish in this little pond.
True.
You know, it's 350 properties out there. It took me 2 years to crack into my own neighborhood.
Wow.
But at that point, I just worked it, and once you're consistent, you do very well, and that's how you kind of work your business.
Yeah.
And in the very first neighborhood I sold in, I started with one little tiny listing, and I ended up selling 20 properties in that neighborhood in Palm Beach Square. So I just
Brilliant.
kind of looked at Calusa the same way. And Calusa itself is 355-acre properties. We've got about 308 houses that are built at the moment. Still have some vacant land for sale. And typically we run about 15 to 20 properties for sale at a time.
Okay.
So my very first listing out there was a family that felt sorry for me. They said,
Yes, they do.
let's throw him a bone. And some older folks, they were awesome. And it was one of the toughest properties to sell in the neighborhood because it was right by the highway. It was a lower property, so there was a little bit of water on it. And it was a frame house. So just
Right.
throw
All
me
those
the
challenges,
triple
yes.
whammy at the first time.
Yeah.
We ended up selling it, used it as my stepping stone, because once I sold that one, we just kept marketing. And, you know, even last year, we had 17 sales, and I built up my market where I sold over half of them.
That's perfect.
So again, it just took a little consistency and working.
Yeah. So the properties in Calusa, they're all 5 acres, right? Are they
Yeah,
5
again,
acres
so
minimum?
you've got 355-acre properties. 95% of them are between 5 and 5.25.
Okay.
And there's 6 properties that are larger than 6 acres.
How many?
There's only 6 that are over 6.
Okay.
Now, here's a little Calusa fun fact. The canals are like little fingers around the roads. So we've got 32 acres of miles, 32 acres of canals. There are actually 2 properties in Calusa that do not back up to our canal system, even
wow.
though everybody says all the properties back up. The truth is that is. And the benefit of the canal system, and let me step back one thing. The reason they built Calusa back in 1978 was to steal the dirt.
Okay.
And they stole the dirt to create the pathway for 95 between Jupiter
Did they
and Palm
really?
Beach
I
Gardens.
never knew that.
That
How
was back in the
interesting.
days when it was not a throughway through that point.
Right.
So they took all the dirt out and they just kind of turned it into a canal system and a road system, and it turned into Calusa.
Wow.
But because of that, we take drainage very, very importantly. So when you have the properties all backing up to the canals, we push the water out to the side of the property, to the back of the property, into the canal system. And then there's a major waterway called the C18, which sits between our 2 sections of Calusa. And all the water dumps through a weir out there. So unlike the multi-acre areas out there like Loxahatchee and Jupiter Farms and
That get
Ranch
flooding.
Colony that have canal systems, which is awesome, they have to wait for the water to kind of percolate down. For us, egress just takes it right out through a canal,
Wow.
right into the C18, which is managed by
It's
the South.
always dry.
So we are one of the driest communities in the area.
Perfect. And very equestrian, right? A lot of horse lovers out there.
Very true. Yeah, once in a while you may see a horse or 2.
Every
For
time
me,
I go
all
in
I have
there.
to do is walk in my backyard and I see 3 horses, which coincidentally I get to clean up after every day too.
Fun.
Part of the fun of it. But we're about 35% equestrian. You know, a lot of folks have barns. And some of the beauty is the equestrian features of the community too, because along the roads or behind all the roads, the canal system doubles as our bridle paths. So folks get to just ride off the property, ride around the canals,
And they
you
don't
can
leave
ride.
the community.
You don't have to you don't have to have a
Perfect.
trailer. You can just kind of ride yourself around the community. You can ride to our park.
How awesome.
I'm glad you asked about the park.
Tell us about the park.
Okay. So we've got a 32-acre central park in the middle of the community. Again, it's something that no other community has what we have.
Right in the center.
Right in the center of the park. And the awesome part about it, it serves a bunch of different facets. Again, it's an equestrian park, but we have a tennis courts. We have soon to come pickleball courts, which are going to be in the next couple of weeks. So we'll have two tennis courts, 2 basketball courts, 2 pickleball courts. We have a kids play area. So if you want to just bring your kiddos over, go out and play.
Ah, cool.
And that's a fun thing. We have a central pavilion where people will do their meetings. You know, we do the
You
ward
do a lot of
meetings,
holiday parties there, right?
and we do at least 3 or 4 different events during the year too.
Yeah.
All the way from Memorial Day to Labor Day to our infamous one is the chili cook-off. And at the chili cook-off, we'll have 6 to 10 contestants come out there, cook their best chili, and we vote on it, and we give them prizes.
Very cool.
But at the same time, we also do a parade that day where people can decorate their bicycles, golf carts, horses. You know, they could have a float, and we just kind of cruise down the boulevard. Everybody gets to enjoy that. All
Excellent.
culminating at the park itself. We do our chili cook-off. I have kids' games all set up for the kiddos.
Perfect.
And we even have bounce houses there.
And I heard a rumor that the Williams sisters used to practice tennis there.
That was a sad story
Oh, it
because
was?
they did not live in Calusa. Their dad lives behind Calusa.
Oh, okay.
And they used to play at the Calusa Park. And Calusa said, wait a minute, you're not neighbors. You can't play here anymore.
Really?
Big mistake.
Oh, my goodness.
So they actually told them they couldn't play there anymore. Now they're pretty famous, aren't they?
They are quite famous, yeah, and
Oh,
quite
my
successful.
goodness.
So price points on the homes, what do you, range?
Another great question. And those have gone up hundreds of thousands of dollars over the last couple of years even. You know, back in 2017, we were selling in the 3s and 4s for the low-priced homes. This year, the lowest price homes is right now $599.
The lowest
And
price is $599.
The lowest price is
Wow.
$599. It goes all the way up to $2.6 million.
Wow.
So again, the bulk of it is between the 600 and a million range.
Right.
But we still have a bunch of $1 million properties that are awesome properties.
Very cool. And the location of Calusa is on the Beeline Highway, right?
Another great question, because a lot of folks, when they first hear about Calusa, they go, "You're so far out." In the real
Not
world,
really.
we're 4 miles down to PGA Boulevard, where most folks know where that is.
Yeah, yeah.
4 miles in, and you're right on the turnpike. You're at Mirasol Publix. You're at another 3 or 4 miles, you're at Gardens Mall, and so you got all the fine shopping there. We're 7 miles down to North Lake, and the Home Depots, the Costco's, and all the regular shopping that we do as well.
Perfect.
But
It's
to get to the beach, you know, we're 25 minutes away from the beach, so
Love
we're
it.
not even far away from that.
Yeah, and we've done some deals there. I've helped out with some deals. It's a beautiful community. So horse riding, 5 acres, and lots of horseback riding, right? And very close to everything.
But we also have a lot of folks that enjoy just the privacy.
Yeah,
You know, one of my favorite stories is I have a neighbor who knows two people out here,
that's brilliant.
and I'm one of them. So we also have a lot of car buffs. So folks
Yeah.
that'll have like multi-car
Multi-car
garages,
garages,
that,
yeah,
you know,
yeah.
your specialty.
Yeah.
And we also have the International Speedway, which is 4 miles up from us too.
Yeah.
So a lot of car buffs will be out there. But across the street is the airport, the North County
Yeah.
Airport. So we have several people that own planes that live in the community because we're only 4 miles away from there. So we fit a range of people, all the way from people that just like, you know, we have sheep and cow and zebra, and alpaca. I mean, I've got 3 giant tortoises in my yard. So people
it.
can have pretty much any kind of an animal out there. We do have 2 rules in Calusa, though, 2 that go against our bylaws: no commercial chicken farming and no commercial pig farming. But can you have chickens and pigs
Yeah, of
all
course
day
you
long?
can. So Mark, we're almost out of time. Tell people how they can get a hold of you. What's your contact
The
information?
best way to learn more about Calusa is go to calusa.net. So it's CALOOSA.net. And for me, I'm easily found at findinghometoday.com.
Okay.
And I totally appreciate you bringing me on here to talk
You're
a little
welcome.
bit.
It's great to
And I'm
hear about.
I'm even more thrilled that you got into real estate and you did exactly what I wanted you to do. You killed it.
Thank you, Mark.
Pleasure,
Great
sir.
for having you. Thanks, guys. See you soon.